I'm Richard Blythman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of AlgoveraAI. I'm a machine learning engineer by background, so I've worked in a few big tech companies. I've got like 5 years experience in what we would now call generative AI and actually putting these algorithms into products. So I'm on a bunch of patents at some big tech companies and also some research. I was working for a big tech company as a machine learning engineer, and I moved jobs at the start of the pandemic. It was all a bit rushed, and so I didn't ask as many questions when I joined the next company as I should have. And I ended up being put on the surveillance team. And so in my first week, I was given a data set of millions of images from surveillance cameras and asked to track people with as high performance as possible. So this kind of turned my world on its head. I started talking to members of my team, seeing if they were okay with this. And what I realized was that no one was really comfortable with it, but still everyone was working on it, right? So I started thinking about the incentive structures that we get, AI developers working in, the organizational structures which are top down, and just thinking like, is this the best way that we can do things? Where most of the engineering talent in the world is working on problems that aren't good for the world, or can we find a new way to organize? So that's kind of when I went down the crypto rabbit hole. I started looking at DAOs. How can we organize and build a new organizational ecosystem around AI? I mean, I guess I worked on it for a while. So like I also worked in the same system that everyone else did, right? Because I was under my own incentive structure, which was, I was trying to start a startup on the side. I kept saying the funding is going to come through next month. I'm not going to be here for that long. I'm not making that much of an impact. I mean, I kind of like, I was reflecting, and it feels like you're solving puzzles all day, right? So I may as well be doing like a Sudoku puzzle, but then somehow me doing this puzzle is like leading to harm with people somewhere else. And so I don't think I'm that different to anyone else in that I also worked under this incentive structure and this organizational system. But the good news is that I've gone so far the other direction now that I feel like, yeah, I'm pushing against this way that people are working. So, yeah, I don't know why I woke up one day and thought it. I guess I've always kind of questioned the status quo and like questioned leadership and been a bit of a contrarian and stuff. So maybe that's part of it. I think I said a lot of the stuff to them. I kind of pushed back on the idea, and I said, what we're doing is it doesn't feel right, and people react in different ways. Some of them kind of agreed with me and then said, like, well, what difference are we going to make? And then some people kind of, get a bit more angry about it or defensive, I guess. I don't think I'd want to. I don't think I'd want to like, give out to anyone. I think the best way is just to like build a new system that works better for everyone, right? That's really what I want to do with AI is, and this hacker house is part of it, right? This is like really about bottom up, building projects that we want people to work on with AI. And I think the way that AI is done now is a way of doing it. It's made a bunch of progress, and I don't want to like destroy that or anything. I just want to provide this alternative.
I believe there's a Moore's law for AI development, and if so, what is your trajectory? What you believe that at some point, and tell me what will happen.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so Moore's law was like the size of the transistors reducing in size all the time and fitting more on a chip. And then we kind of got to the limit of how small we could make them and how densely we could pack them. So then we just started putting them all in parallel. So this is kind of what happens in AI. That's the Moore's law of AI, is just like more chips in parallel, all working together. So we're building these supercomputers that are really huge, and that's what brought us a lot of the recent technological progress. Is companies like OpenAI who really thought that, like, what happens if we really scale this thing? So they built some really big supercomputers We got the most powerful graphics cards, and yeah, trained these really, really large models, more than 200 billion parameters. No one knows how big GPT-4 is. Some people say 1 trillion parameters. So yeah, they were really the ones to see that if we just like used scale, that this would really improve the performance. And they've been correct so far. And now people are starting to think, is this going to run out? There are some signs that's happening. So for example, Sam Altman has said that they're not training GPT-5 at the moment. And he's also given hints that the era of scaling is running out, and he thinks that we're going to have to be, more clever with the types of architectures and stuff that we use. I think that would be a good thing. If you know, if because when we have these like huge computers, right, it puts it out of the reach of a lot of people if you're not this, well-funded research lab. And so I hope that era is coming to an end, and now maybe we'll start to see smaller models with like, more algorithmic improvements that don't necessarily depend on just the size of the computer. Okay, yeah, the AI Commons is it's a really complex question, I guess. I see my role in the crypto space as coming at it from an AI perspective, and so there's plenty of people who can talk about the Commons, which is like originally researched by Elinor Ostrom, especially with things like the tragedy of the Commons. There's a lot of people who know that more than me. I kind of see my role as trying to relate this AI Commons back to the existing AI platforms that we have. And these are, platforms like Hugging Face, for example. OpenAI is another platform. So that's what I've been trying to do, is like create a platform like those, but that is more inspired by the AI Commons, where it's less extractive. So for example, OpenAI extract a lot from the digital commons. They scrape the whole web, all of the data that's really valuable, and they use that to create something that is that they can sell, and then they don't reward the people who contributed the data that they're trained on. So that's kind of they've built an AI platform that is extracting from the digital commons, right? And so what we're trying to think about is, what would an AI platform look like that doesn't extract from the AI commons, but actually, rewards the data contributors, rewards the AI developers more. So if you create something on OpenAI or on Hugging Face at the moment and upload it, that data gets used, or that model gets used, and when it gets used and actually generates value, you don't see any of the rewards of that. And so this is how we're trying to bring in elements of the commons to these AI platforms that are quite popular. Yeah, I think like there's a lot of stuff coming out at the moment that's saying, we really need to be scared of AI, and the end of the world is close. And I get why that gets read a lot. But I think we really need to focus on like the positive AI features, and AI can really like change the way that we organize as humans, the way that we cooperate and coordinate. There's so many benefits to AI, and of course we have to be mindful of the risks as well. But AI can really like change the world for the better, and I wish that got more media attention. I'm not sure I have a message for the government. I mean, like, I go through my phases where I'm quite angry at the government, I guess, and some days I'm like, burn it the fuck down. But I try to like be more constructive and more positive, I suppose. And what I'm really focused on now is just building an alternative to some of these systems that we have for governance, for coordination, for cooperation. I think like AI is going to provide some opportunities there, and so let's just build a better system. And we don't need to fight as much. I think that's probably it.
Which government in this planet Earth is embracing AI Commons, for example? Is there one government in 2023 May is embracing AI Commons?
I don't think I don't know of any governments that are adopting the AI Commons. Like one of the things I'm afraid of is right. So what people are scared of at the moment is these platforms like OpenAI and these tech companies like OpenAI and big tech like Google are going to become so powerful with this AI technology in their hands. And I do see that as a risk. But the solution that a lot of people propose then is that, you know, governments should regulate AI and control it. Um, for me, that solution is more scary than the problem in the first place, right? Like governments don't have a good track record of using technology responsibly, and if we do have this really powerful technology that is only in the hands of governments, for example, or maybe a few big tech companies, I think that's a really scary future. And so I think there's a different solution, which is we can not have private control of AI or not have government control of AI, but more decentralized control. And so this is like the third option that I really want to push for. Decentralized governance of AI by the people who are going to be affected by AI, right? Kind of a digital democracy around AI. I think companies like OpenAI operate according to their incentive structures, which are, you know, VC-backed, capitalist, which is like, you know, needed for a bunch of situations, and they've made fantastic progress. I'm not sure that would have been possible without all of the funding and the approach that they took. I think now they're in a position where they have this really powerful technology. I think they do try to think responsibly a lot of the time. They have a big like AI safety group. They seem like pretty open at the moment to taking ideas on board and really adapting to feedback. I'm not sure if that's always going to be the case, right? They're still quite a young company. They're still a startup compared to, say, Google and these big tech companies. And so what I'm worried about is not necessarily now, but maybe like 10 years in the future when they are really, you know, the biggest company in the world. And that tends to corrupt. We've seen it so many times with tech companies. And so do I have a message for them? I guess I'm not so much focused on sending a message to projects like OpenAI. There's actually a bunch of projects in the crypto world that are trying to, you know, talk to them. So I was just at an event in Montenegro, and a lot of the organizations there are actually going and giving talks to OpenAI and trying to like send them the message about the AI Commons and like a different way of doing AI. And I think that's really important. But and that's kind of like a top-down approach, right? How can we change the existing AI organizations? I think that's really important to do. But for now, at least, we're just focused on like bottom up. How do we build this like new ecosystem from the bottom up? And at some point, maybe we'll become big enough that that companies like OpenAI will listen to us. But for now, we're just trying to build a new way of doing AI. Yeah, I think it's still really early. So I think funding is really important. We still haven't figured out a good way of funding all of these amazing projects that are just starting. We've bootstrapped ourselves so far, I suppose. So we've worked on things like grants and contract work and consultancy, and managed to support our team for about 2 years now. But it hasn't been easy, and it's definitely not. There's not a huge amount of funding available, and so I think we really need new funding mechanisms to figure out new ways of funding all of these like early projects in our ecosystem, and ideally doing it in a way that maybe isn't VC backed, right? Because I think what happens when you raise money through VC, it kind of changes your incentive systems. We actually tried to raise VC ourselves. We're still kind of exploring it, and it really does change you. Like you start thinking about things like defensibility, for example. They'll ask you like, why is your project defensible? And like, my answer is that I don't want it to be defensible, right? I don't want to build a new defensible platform that has potential to be like a monopoly or anything. So I think if we can figure out a way to fund projects that isn't through this like this VC model, which is the only one that we have available, I think we'll end up with more projects that are that operate to a different set of incentive structures and therefore don't fall prey to some of the effects that we've seen with previous tech companies. So what would I say to the builders here? I think they've already taken the first step, right? Like a lot of them are exploring this really interesting intersection of Web3 and AI. And I think there's a huge amount of opportunity in the space. It's so early, still so early. And I really think it's a space that's going to become very important. So for them, I would just say, learn as much as possible as you can about AI. And also like keep digging into like new Web3 technologies and how they can be used with AI. And yeah, just play for the long game. So I don't think AI Web3 is going to take over next year or anything. It's probably like a long-term project that's going to take I don't know, 10 years or something. So yeah, just like buckle up, get ready for a long journey, and just keep building and exploring and exchanging ideas. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, for the other engineers, I would say, yeah, if you're in a tech company and you're thinking about starting a startup, why not just do it? I mean, it's one of the most exciting times for startups ever. I mean, we've got these huge breakthroughs in AI. It's so easy to build things now. You can build a prototype in like a few days, and then I think that's really exciting. And then also, like, Web3 is still super early. The technologies are starting to mature. There's just so much that we can build that is like different to the existing apps and platforms that we have. And so why not give it a try? And even if you don't quit your job straight away, just like dip your toes in with a side project on the weekends, and then yeah, maybe you'll love it so much that you'll end up quitting your job in tech and doing it full time. I think it's a really exciting ecosystem that's forming. It's a really good life, right? Like we're here at a hacker house in the sun. There's like a pool over there. We're sitting on a tennis court. I think we're gonna hopefully have more of these hacker houses, which like give people an opportunity to meet new people and exchange ideas and travel the world. So I think it's a really good lifestyle, and maybe not as secure as a job in tech. I understand it doesn't suit everyone, but if you're at the stage of your life where you can travel and like, you know, do co-living and all this sort of stuff, then yeah, I think it's a really good option. Okay, yeah, so like I kind of gave my backstory about how I ended up here, and I think one of the big questions is like, with these new technologies, what do we really want to use them for? Like, how do we want to change the world for the better with these new technologies, which are AI and crypto? You know, a lot of people in the AI space, for example, are talking about using AI to boost productivity, and I think that's going to be a huge one, and it's probably really valuable as well. But is that really everything that we want to do with AI? I think there's like more that we can do. Like the thing that I'm really passionate about, and probably what drives me, is using AI to help people to work together to solve the biggest problems that we face. So it's kind of like AI for coordination, AI for collaboration, AI for governance. How do we use these new tools to help us work together to make the world a better place? I think that's my dream. Can we like figure out how to use AI for these sorts of things?
Any last words?
Any last words? Just thank you so much for doing these sorts of videos. I think they're like really important for the space, and it's something that we miss, right? Like I think videos like this are really going to generate a lot of excitement around AI, crypto, and if we can, you know, show what it's like, you know, living in these hacker houses, exchanging ideas, building cool stuff, I think hopefully that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. Cool. Sweet, thank you, man. This is awesome.